U.S. President Donald Trump has said that China needs to do a lot in order to turn things around in trade negotiations. This after the U.S. decided to impose a fresh 10% tariff on $300 billion worth of Chinese goods. Trump further added that he could increase the tariffs even more. The decision, of course, has not gone down well with China. China's diplomat to the UN has described the move as an irrational and irresponsible act. He warned that China would fight the trade war as long as the U.S. wants it. African Union mediator for Sudan, Mohammed Hassan Lebat, has informed of some progress in the conflict-ridden in this nation. Sudan's military council and its main opposition coalition have agreed a constitutional declaration to usher in a new period of transitional government. Lebat said that the delegation would continue with the technical details of the signature procedures. He, though, did not elaborate on the contents of the declaration. Facebook is continuing with its offense against fake accounts and pages. The latest social media giant will be taking down accounts and pages run by people connected to the Saudi Arabia government. This is an attempt to combat coordinated, inauthentic behavior on its platform. Social media companies like FB, Twitter have been under intense pressure to stop the illicit, politically influential campaigns. In El Salvador, a 21-year-old woman is out of jail after serving a 3-year sentence. She is accused of having an abortion. In reality, the young woman named Evelyn Hernandez had delivered a stillborn baby without even knowing she was pregnant. The case was brought to light the plight of hundreds of women who have been sentenced for having abortions in El Salvador. At least 147 women have been sentenced for up to 40 years for out-of-hospital births between 2000 and 2014. The country has some of the most severe laws in the world against abortion, even when the mother's life is in danger. Pedro Pierluisi has been confirmed as the new Secretary of State in Puerto Rico. The House of Representatives voted 26-21 in his favor on Friday. This removes an obstacle in him becoming the Puerto Rico's next governor. His candidature to the post, though, still remains unclear. Pierluisi has been criticized for mismanaging the territory's financial crisis. Meanwhile, Ricardo Rossello also stepped down on Friday. He had promised to resign on August 2nd here after there were huge protests against him. European Union has picked Bulgaria's Kristalina Georgieva as the bloc's candidate to the International Monetary Fund. Georgieva has defeated Dutch candidate after 2 rounds of voting and prolonged negotiations. The 65-year-old chief executive of the World Bank got the backing of a majority of 28 EU states. Her candidacy, though, would force a change in IMF rules that require the managing director to be younger than 65 years of age when appointed. If the change is opposed, her appointment could be weakened.
Brexit votes. Support the European member states, the citizens, European institutions.
Pro-Russian rebels and Ukrainian forces took part in a joint mine clearance operation in a Ukrainian town on Friday. The bridge connecting the rebel and government control areas have faced heavy damage because of the military conflict in the town. Due to this critical condition, the conflicting sides have agreed to demine the area around the bridge. Demining was a precondition for further dismantling of fortifications and repair work. A senior official in South Korea's government has said that Japan can no longer be thought of as a friendly nation. This comes after Japan's decision to downgrade South Korea's trade status. South Korea says it will take steps to drop Japan from its export white list in a tit-for-tat move. South Korea's President Moon Jae-in called it a selfish act aimed at containing South Korea's economic growth. The decision implies that South Korean exports to Japan now require additional screening to make sure they are not used for weapons and military applications. The new restrictions come into effect on August 28th. Thousands of civil servants attended a rally in Hong Kong's Chatter Garden to demand government accountability and political reform. This despite a recent request by the government demanding they maintain political neutrality. Now the rally is the first time government employees have promoted a demonstration in Hong Kong. Hordes of civil servants assembled peacefully with protesters in the heart of the business district. Several more were wearing masks to protect their identity.
公務員工作以外嘅時間。
Palestinian protesters clashed with Israeli forces near the site of a recent demolition of houses, which Israel claims were built too close to its security barrier. With the West Bank, dozens of Palestinians gathered for traditional Muslim Friday prayers in Wadi Hamas in the West Bank near the fence overlooking the neighborhood of Surbaher in East Jerusalem. Last month, Israeli crews began demolishing dozens of Palestinian homes on the outskirts of an East Jerusalem neighborhood in one of the largest operations of its kind in years. About 30 activists with Youth for Climate attempted to block the Russian embassy in protest of the Yamal liquefied natural gas mega project run by Russia's Novatek in Arctic Siberia. The activists also expressed solidarity with those arrested in Russian opposition protest over the weekend. Algerian protesters are back to the streets of the capital, Algiers, for a 24th consecutive Friday, the latest in weeks of rallies against the ruling class amid an ongoing political crisis in the country. Protesters are seeking more freedom and removal of remaining symbols of the old guard after they forced President Abdelaziz Bouteflika to end a 20-year rule on April 2nd. U.S. President Donald Trump has said that a lot of progress has been made in the peace talks with Afghanistan. Trump, though, added that the U.S. was capable of winning Afghanistan within 2 to 3 days but did not want to kill millions. He informed that the U.S. troops have been pulling out from Afghanistan. Meanwhile, U.S. Special Representative Zalmay Khalilzad has reached Doha to resume peace talks with the Taliban. Three women in Iran have been sentenced to 55 years in jail for disrespecting compulsory hijab. In Iran, the hijab is the de facto Islamic dress code. A revolutionary court in the capital city of Tehran delivered the verdict to the three women who were already in custody. Three women had been charged with assembly and collusion to act against national security, propaganda against the regime, as well as encouraging and preparing the grounds for corruption and prostitution. Germany's customs service says it has seized a 4.5-ton cocaine shipment. This is the country's largest ever seize. The cocaine has an estimated street value of 1 billion euros. Illegal drugs were discovered 2 weeks ago in a Netherlands-bound shipping container from Uruguay during a search in the northern port city of Hamburg. A 4-year-old boy got his head stuck in the face hole of a massage bench in China's Shishi city. Firefighters were called onto the scene to rescue the boy. They managed to cut open the leather lining around the face hole and remove the cotton filler. The wooden bench was cut into half and the boy was pulled out. Fortunately, the boy did not suffer any injuries. Three-year-old Bangladeshi twins named Rabea and Rukaya were separated recently. The Hungarian surgeons performed a marathon 30-hour operation to separate the skulls and brains of the conjoined twins. Both of them are reportedly stable and are recovering from the operation. A 23-year-old Indian origin doctor has been crowned Miss England. Bhasha Mukherjee holds 2 different medical degrees and is an official genius with an IQ of 146. She was born in India and was relocated to the UK when she was 9. Miss England Mukherjee would now enter into the Miss World contest. Panama's President Laurentino Cortizo inaugurates the Atlantic Bridge, the third bridge connecting the country's eastern and western halves. The gigantic cable-stayed bridge of 530 meters over the Panama Canal. The bridge is the longest in the country so far.
Sino para el bien común de todos los hoy te damos gracias por esta generación de hombres a estos niños. Orgullo de este Estado. Cámara, acción, 3. Los globos, arriba.
Russian paratroopers on Friday celebrated their national holiday. Different divisions of the paratroopers marched at the Red Square in Moscow. They were watched by hundreds of Moscow residents and army veterans. The march was followed by a religious procession. Priests celebrated the paratroopers and prayed for them. Some of the paratroopers also took a dip in the fountain at the nearby Gorky Park. Greenland has been suffering a great meltdown. The European heat wave is now affecting the territories situated between the Atlantic and Arctic Ocean. The island has 82% of the surface covered in ice, but the ice sheet has been melting. The melting rate reached a record of 56.5% recently this year.